This is what I was referring to from Combank IQ, and basically what I've done is I've taken all consumer spending across the economy and then basically divvied it up by the size, excuse me, divvied it up by age demographic. And red denotes the fact the that the level of per capita spending is falling over the last 12 months, and green denotes it growing. But I think this chart really reveals something very concerning. The fact that those few green slivers at the end of the chart, which make up something like less than a quarter of the population, are the sole remaining domestic growth engine of consumer spending. And the rest of it is basically just population growth from people from teenagers getting older going out into the world, which is a huge factor in the grand scheme of things, and migration. And that's it. That's all that's the narrow rickety base sitting at the end of sitting underneath the consumer economy. And if it falters, it's kaput. And to be completely honest with you, considering what the latest labor force data looks like, it's looking like the government side of things supporting the economy may be, sort of pulling a bit of its support from underneath the economy as well. And if that happens, well, it's toast, put simply.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know whether you've got another chart later, but I might just share one chart that I've got here, which relates to the unemployment rate for different cohorts. And the reason this is important and perhaps quite relevant here is because if you look at the unemployment in the labour force for 25 years and over, it's at 3.3. But if you look at the 15 to 24-year-olds, it's above 10% and rising. And that's another factor in all of this, which I think is quite important. So the distribution of activity and employment and unemployment, those things, it's all playing into the same trend. So a lot of younger people are not actually getting the momentum, particularly when they're younger, and that then follows through right the way, right the through. So we talked about household formation being later, and their ability to spend is absolutely crimped. So we've got this smaller and smaller and smaller island of people who are basically still spending and supporting the economy. Now, two observations. The first relates to the fact that group, the 65 plus and 75 plus, mostly on pensions, presumably, will be holding the bulk of the equity in property, and of course, will have some investment income and those sorts of things. But the question is that really a sustainable basis to build an economy into the future?
No, no, exactly. And it's not a sustainable base to build a society into the future either. Because the thing is, because of the way the Australian system is geared, because of the way it functions, these people, the next cohort of retirees are going to have even more time with compulsory super, and they're going to have and because of the fact that basically the housing money printer, the housing price printer, I should say, just keeps going. If the next 5 years is similar to the last 5 years, or even to the prior 5 years prior to that, you're looking at a situation where basically the only people getting ahead at an aggregate level are going to be the people who are in the retiree cohort. Or if we see a bit more of a broadening, I would say more likely at an aggregate level because of the flow of inheritances, probably the 50 and over cohort.
Yep.
So it's not something that you can sustainably build a society on because you're going to have these young people going out to work, doing the hard slog to pay the rent, pay the mortgage, and the people who are going to be having all the leisure, all the people out there in the cafes, out there on holiday doing all the things is going to just be increasingly disproportionately older people. Now, you don't begrudge the people that at an individual level. Most people worked hard for what they have, but at a societal level, a lot of people are going to get really, really pissed off that they're paying in particular the people who are paying for these pensions and paying for these things, when the people are living in houses that they could for the average person that they could never possibly hope to own. So it's just going to be a very challenging social issue, I think, going forward.